Be me girl in love almost 2 years. Everyone said we were perfect together always. Friends envied photos, parents smiled with pride. They looked at him like future family. I believed deeply this was forever sure. He made me laugh on worst heavy days. Brought coffee late while I studied tired. Sent silly messages at midnight to cheer. His presence felt like safest home alive. I rested completely in his gentle hands. My world wrapped around his steady voice. My heart trusted with no second thought. Every plan carried his face in it. Every dream built with him beside. I never doubted his feelings for me. Never imagined the ground could collapse under. Until one night he called me out. Asked to meet in cozy cafe corner. I thought it was the proposal moment. Chose the dress he loved the most. My hands trembled with glowing expectation. I walked into cafe, heart racing with hope. He sat already waiting, cup in hand. His eyes distant, circling coffee without drinking. I smiled wide, expecting ring hidden near. My pulse quickened, imagining forever starting now. He stayed silent, lips pressed together tight. Then words fell low, sharp like blade. I don't feel anything anymore for you. My chest collapsed, ground vanished beneath my feet. I waited for laugh, some cruel mistake. But his face stayed calm, eyes avoiding mine. He spoke of difference, of losing himself. Spoke of not wanting to lie anymore. Said he needed time to find his way. His voice steady, but mine cracked inside. I clutched napkin, tearing it piece by piece. While worlds spun around us, uncaring, loud. Each fragment like my heart ripping apart. People around sipped coffee, laughed unaware. While my forever ended in single sentence. His words kept coming heavy without pause. We're too different, I can't pretend anymore. Better end now than keep lying longer. I nodded faintly, but my soul screamed loud. Every smile, every promise crumbled into dust. I stared at table, unable to breathe. My hands shook, ripping napkin into shreds. He kept speaking about searching for himself. About freedom, about not wanting to hurt. But between his lines I only heard silence. Silence heavier than any scream or fight. Tears filled my eyes, but I forced smile. Around us people laughed, clinking their cups. I masked pain because strangers were watching. My lips curved while my heart bled inside. I thought love would end in thunder. Instead it died softly across cafe table. With coffee steam rising between broken souls. I swallowed pain, pretending nothing shattered here. I walked home alone through empty night streets. City lights blurred behind curtain of tears. Steps heavy, echoing louder than my thoughts. Every corner felt colder than before. Places once ours, now strangers to me. I wrapped arms tight around shaking chest. Whispered why quietly, but no answer came. People passed, unaware of storm inside me. I reached doorway of my silent apartment. Closed door, leaned back, sliding to floor. Tears crashed harder, flooding into my hands. Not for leaving, not for goodbye words. But for years I gave without hesitation. For trust, love, time, all poured into him. And I never noticed him slipping away. Pain burned sharper than any betrayal, truth. Because I still loved him even then. Loved while he tore future into pieces. And that hurt more than his leaving. Nights turned long with silence pressing the walls. I lay on floor crying until eyes burned. His laughter echoed inside my empty chest. His promises repeated like broken glass cutting. I whispered his name, but air stayed cold. Phone lit up with messages from friends. Are you okay? We saw your post. I typed back, smiley faces, fake strong. Because how could I explain this ache? How describe 2 years erased in one line? My parents called, voices filled with worry. I said I'm fine, just tired tonight. But truth drowned heavy inside my ribs. I missed his hand holding mine warm. Missed silly texts glowing past midnight hours. Each memory stabbed sharper than yesterday. I thought about that cafe scene again. About coffee steam rising as love ended. My heart still whispered love even through tears. Weeks passed, but ache still lived inside me. I woke each morning reaching for his side. Bed cold, empty sheets tangled without him. I checked phone expecting message that never came. Silence screamed louder than any cruel words. Friends invited me out trying to distract. I smiled politely but laughter felt hollow. Crowds reminded me of moments we shared. His face appeared in every passing shadow. I avoided places where we once sat. Cafés, streets, parks all carried our ghosts. My chest tightened each time I saw couples. Their joined hands mirrored what I had lost. At home I opened closets slowly trembling. That dress I wore still hanging in dark. I touched fabric, heart clenching painfully tight. Breath caught, heavy tears rising again fast. That dress no longer meant joy or love. It became symbol of night, my world shattered. Some nights I dreamed he returned to me. Smiling, gentle, holding ring in his hand. Whispering words I longed to finally hear. But morning came tearing illusions into dust. Empty pillow beside me, colder than stone. Reality heavier than any dream could be. I sat by window staring into street. Watching strangers pass while heart bled inside. My reflection showed girl with swollen eyes. But also spark that refused to die. Pain carved deep scars but left fire too. Fire whispering I would rise again. Even broken pieces could form something stronger. I repeated softly, this is not end. Voice shaking but slowly turning firm, louder. Though I still missed his hand each day. Missed laughter, kisses, moments we once built. I knew healing had already begun. Through tears I whispered, I will survive this. I started writing thoughts down into journal. Pages filled with messy lines of pain. I gave him everything, he left anyway. 2 years vanished like smoke in night. Ink smudged with tears falling onto paper. But words freed, weight pressing on chest. Each sentence reminder I was still here. Still breathing, still fighting for my heart. Nights became easier when I wrote truth. Mornings brighter when I read back lines. I deserve love that stays, not leaves. My worth is not measured by his choice. Slowly I began to believe my words. Slowly pain turned into fragile strength inside. Journal pages became proof of survival. Proof I could bleed and still rise. Every paragraph whispered future waiting ahead. Even if scars never fully disappeared. They would remind me I walked through fire. I started writing thoughts down into journal. Pages filled with messy lines of pain. I gave him everything, he left anyway. 2 years vanished like smoke in night. Ink smudged with tears falling onto paper. But words freed, weight pressing on chest. Each sentence reminder I was still here. Still breathing, still fighting for my heart. Nights became easier when I wrote truth. Mornings brighter when I read back lines. I deserve love that stays, not leaves. My worth is not measured by his choice. Slowly I began to believe my words. Slowly pain turned into fragile strength inside. Journal pages became proof of survival. Proof I could bleed and still rise. Every paragraph whispered future waiting ahead. Even if scars never fully disappeared. They would remind me I walked through fire. Friends kept calling, asking me to join. At first I said no, hiding my wounds. But one evening I finally said yes. We sat in café laughing over stories. Their voices warm like blanket around me. For first time in weeks I smiled true. Laughter spilled out, breaking heavy silence apart. They didn't mention him, didn't say his name. Only reminded me I was not alone. Walking home that night, stars lit the sky. I breathed deep air crisp against my skin. Realized life still moved even without him. Realized love lost didn't mean love ended. Hope flickered faint but real in chest. I whispered softly, I will find light. Tears came again but felt different now. Less heavy, more cleansing, like release. My steps echoed steady across empty street. Stronger than first night I walked alone. Days turned into rhythm of slow, quiet healing. I cooked meals just for myself alone. At first table felt too wide, empty. But soon I learned to fill silence. Music played softly while I washed dishes. Sunlight warmed kitchen through small window panes. I realized peace could live in ordinary things. No need for him to bring me coffee. I could brew it strong with my hands. I could smile at my own reflection. Even without his words echoing in ears. Slowly home began to feel safe again. Not built on him but built on me. My laughter returned, first in small bursts. Then louder, ringing across empty walls. Each sound proof my heart was mending. Each smile proof betrayal didn't win completely. I whispered softly, I'm finding myself again. And truth settled warm inside my chest. Weeks later I passed by the old cafe. The same one where my world collapsed. For a moment my chest tightened sharp. I almost turned away from the door. But instead I stepped inside calm steady. Ordered coffee, sat near the window alone. Watched people rushing through the busy street. This time memories came but didn't drown. I let them pass like clouds in sky. Pain lingered but no longer controlled me. Cup warm in my hands felt grounding. I whispered softly, I survived that night. And for first time I believed fully. His words lost power over my steps. My life no longer chained to his choice. Walking out I felt lighter than before. Streets seemed brighter, air cleaner on skin. I smiled knowing I reclaimed that place. Turned sight of ending into mark of strength. Some nights sadness still knocked on my door. I lay awake replaying his final words. I don't feel anything anymore for you. That sentence still echoed, cutting through my chest. Tears filled my eyes but I let them fall. This time without shame, only quiet release. I reminded myself pain meant I cared. Love was real even if it ended cruel. But his choice did not erase my worth. His leaving did not define who I am. I whispered mantra softly into the dark. I am enough even without his love. Each repetition stitched wound a little tighter. Each breath steadier than the one before. Sleep finally came, not heavy but calm. Carrying dreams of future I had not built yet. A future painted without him at all. But filled with hope and light ahead. Even broken heart could still beat strong. Slowly I found comfort in small gentle things. Morning walks with fresh air filling lungs. Buying flowers to place on my desk. Reading books until sunrise painted the sky. Each habit a brick rebuilding my foundation. My friends noticed sparkle return to my eyes. You look lighter these days, they smiled. I laughed softly, realizing they were right. Pain still lived inside but no longer ruled. I carried it like scar, not open wound. Sometimes I thought of his sudden goodbye. Wondered if he missed the life we had. But then I reminded myself strong truth. Love is not real if it can vanish. Not true if it leaves without fighting. That thought freed me more each time. I whispered I deserve better than halfway love. And with every step I believed it deeper. Healing wasn't instant but it was alive. One afternoon I opened closet without fear. That dress still hanging waiting in shadows. The same I wore on the last night. My chest tightened, breath catching in throat. Fingers brushed fabric, memories rushing in. His face, his words, his silence flooding. For a moment tears pricked, burning behind eyes. But then strength rose steady in me. I pulled it out, holding against the light. Saw not a symbol of heartbreak anymore. But proof of what I survived and endured. I folded it gently, placed in a box. Whispered, thank you for teaching me strength. Pain didn't vanish but it transformed inside. Dress no longer chained me to that night. It became marker of where I began again. Closing the closet I felt lighter, freer. For first time I breathed without that weight. Knowing memories no longer had control. Days kept moving, carrying me further from him. I started journaling dreams, not only pain. Wrote about places I wanted to see. Beaches, mountains, cities glowing with light. Sketched ideas of future filled with hope. My pen became weapon against old wounds. Each page stronger than the one before. I realized his leaving gave me space. Space to discover who I really was. Not half of us but fully myself. I whispered softly while closing my notebook. You lost me but I found me. Those words echoed like anthem inside chest. Healing wasn't about forgetting his betrayal. It was about remembering my own worth. Step by step I grew taller within. Friends noticed strength in my voice again. Laughter louder, not broken but whole. Future no longer looked like fear anymore. One evening I met friends at the park. Sun dipped low, painting sky in fire. We sat on blankets, laughing, sharing stories. Their presence reminded me of real love. Love that never breaks or chooses halfway. My chest felt warm, soaking in that truth. For so long I thought he was home. But now I saw home in their faces. In laughter and arms that held steady. I didn't need him to feel complete. My worth was never tied to his choice. As stars appeared I whispered to myself. I deserve love that stays through storms. Tears welled but softer, not heavy anymore. My friends hugged me tighter, feeling shift. They didn't need to know the words. They just knew I was finding light. And I knew too, future waited ahead. Not with him but with me strong. Weeks later I passed by our old street. The one where he used to walk me home. Every corner carried memory of his voice. For a moment ache pressed hard in chest. But I didn't break or stop this time. I walked steady, letting memories flow past. They no longer chained me to the ground. Instead they proved how far I had come. I whispered softly, that was then, not now. And kept moving forward step by step. The city felt different under my feet. Not haunted, not filled with broken promises. But alive with possibilities waiting ahead. I realized healing wasn't erasing the past. It was learning to live fully despite it. To hold scars as proof of survival. And to believe better love still exists. My heart beat stronger, steady with hope. Knowing one day I would trust again. Some nights I still dreamed of his face. His smile appeared soft, pulling me backward. I woke shaken, chest heavy with memories. But instead of tears I breathed deep calm. Reminded myself dreams are not reality anymore. Morning light washed away ghosts from night. I stood before mirror, eyes red but strong. Whispered firmly, you survived what tried to break you. And those words steadied me through the day. Healing didn't mean forgetting everything we shared. It meant refusing to let it define me. Refusing to let heartbreak be my ending. I learned to find beauty in small things. Sunlight on walls, music playing in kitchen. My laugh returned softer but real each time. Pain became background, not the whole picture. And hope grew louder than grief inside. Every morning I felt more alive again. Months passed and seasons began to change. Leaves turned golden, crunching under my feet. I walked streets once haunted, now peaceful, calm. Places where we laughed no longer cut deep. They became chapters instead of open wounds. I smiled seeing couples holding hands nearby. No bitterness, just quiet acceptance inside. I whispered softly, love will find me again. Not desperate, not clinging, but steady, sure. Because his leaving didn't end my story. It simply shifted me toward another beginning. I realized strength isn't never being broken. It's standing again even with scars showing. My heart carried cracks but still beat strong. And that rhythm guided me each day. Toward future filled with new warmth waiting. I walked on, letting wind brush my hair. Feeling lighter than I had in months. Knowing I was finally free from him. One evening I sat writing at my desk. Pen moved steady, spilling pieces of my soul. I wrote about pain that nearly broke me. About nights I thought I'd never stand again. But also about strength I never knew existed. About laughter returning in smallest quiet ways. Each page filled not with him but me. My dreams, my hopes, my steady growth. I realized I was building a new story. One no betrayal could ever take away. I whispered softly, this chapter is mine now. Tears came but warm, not heavy this time. They carried pride, not sorrow, down my cheeks. I closed journal, placing hand over cover. Feeling heartbeat steady, strong beneath my skin. Healing wasn't loud, it was quiet persistence. Day by day, word by word, step by step. I was reclaiming the girl I once lost. And shaping woman stronger than before. Friends began to notice brightness in my smile. You seem lighter these days, they said softly. I laughed, realizing they were finally right. My steps no longer dragged through heavy shadows. My voice steady when I spoke of future. I even caught myself humming while cooking dinner. Simple joy had returned quietly to my life. One friend asked, do you still miss him? I paused thinking, but answer came clear. I miss who I thought he was. But not the man who broke my heart. Saying it out loud felt like release. Truth freed me more than silence ever could. That night I slept with calm in chest. No nightmares, no haunting echoes of café. Only steady dreams of days yet to come. My pillow no longer soaked with grief. My bed became mine, safe and warm. Proof I could heal without him beside. Seasons shifted, bringing brighter skies above me. I traveled to places I once feared visiting. Cafés, streets, parks that carried our memories. Each step there no longer tore me apart. Instead they reminded me how far I'd come. I laughed under sunlight, sipping coffee alone. Feeling proud of the strength I reclaimed. At night I stood by window smiling calm. Whispered softly, you didn't destroy me at all. My scars glowed, not as shame but proof. Proof I lived through heartbreak and survived whole. Proof endings can turn into beginnings stronger. My heart still carried cracks but beat steady. It no longer begged for love that left. It waited patient for love that stayed. I realized my worth had never changed. His leaving only cleared space for better. And I was ready to step forward new. And now I stand stronger than before. Not broken girl in café but woman reborn. My heart scarred yet steady beating with hope. I know endings are often hidden beginnings. And broken pieces can build brighter future. His leaving did not destroy who I am. It reminded me I deserve true love. Love that doesn't fade or run away. Sometimes I still wonder what others would do. If someone ended years with single sentence. Would you forgive or would you walk away? Could you stay or would you let go? I ask you this with open heart today. What would you do in my place? Write your answer in the comments below. Because your words may guide someone lost. And if this story touched you deeply, leave a like so I know I'm not alone.